All right, so let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the Bright talk about KT problem management in ServiceNow. Before we start, one administrative point. So if you have a question or want to comment on something, feel free to use the chat function. So we will pick up your questions and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. All right. So a bit about ourselves. So my name is Sascha Laufenberg. I work as consultant for Kepner-Tregoe, and I'm based in Germany. Maybe some of the native speakers on the call might have already spotted this from my accent. I'm here together today with my colleague Andrew Vermesh, senior consultant based in the UK. Today, we are going to talk about the KT problem management app in ServiceNow and the underlying method used in the app. So the app is based on the KT processes. So a few words about that. So KT processes are basically thinking processes, which were invented by two behavioral researchers who were stationed at the Strategic Air Command of the US Air Force. And what they did there is they looked at Air Force officers and how they perform in stress situations when it's about solving problems and making decisions under pressure. Stunningly, they concluded that good performance was less dependent on the knowledge and the experience the officers had, but much more on the thinking process each and everyone used to gather, interpret, analyze, and further communicate information. Based on this, they developed then universally applicable thinking processes to support clear thinking in stress situations. So all what Kepner-Tregoe does nowadays basically roots in these thinking processes. All right, so these thinking processes cover the entire life cycle of an issue. So from the first understanding of the situation until the secure implementation of the fix, basically. And the problem management app we are going to have a look at basically picks up bits from all KT processes, but is vastly based on KT problem analysis, which you can find in your ITIL 3 service operation manual, and is the thinking process we have that is aimed at finding root cause. And I'm going to demonstrate our ServiceNow app now by resolving a mock case. All right, so the mock case plays in a company called Systems Management. And these are some of the challenges the problem management team faces. So one challenge is that causes are difficult to verify. So sometimes causes are rather assumed than really verified. They also complained about that they have too little time to be proactive. So quite often, critical data is already gone before they even start working. They also have poor data for investigation. So for some issues, it's really difficult to estimate what data is now actually relevant, where to find it, and once they have it, how to read the data properly and how to structure it. Another thing is it's hard to see progress. So where are we now in the stage of the root cause analysis process? So what they want to do is they want to tackle these challenges and decided for this to learn KT and to unlock the problem management app in ServiceNow. So what the app and KT processes should provide them with now is basically a visible, clear investigation path leading to the root cause, a common language and a standardized way of documenting high quality data. So let us have a look at how this investigation path actually looks like and how it's visualized in ServiceNow. So the investigation path and with it the apps follows roughly 6 steps. So the focus is first on appraising the situation. So making sure you understand the issue and have a right starting point for your investigation. Then, once understood in the second and third part, which is here list causes and specify and test, the actual conducting of the root cause is basically done. Once root cause is found, it's about selecting a fix, and then in the last steps, 5 and 6, about securing your fix and extending your thinking beyond the root cause to learn from the problem and to drive continuous improvement. So I suggest let's go into these steps, and let's start with step number 1. So basically the first challenge kind of everyone encounters in conducting root cause analysis is to find the right starting point for the investigation. So before knowing KT, the team at Systems Management wasted time due to already working on issues before clearly understanding them and throwing problems together that do not belong together. So the first part of the PATH and ServiceNow module is about helping you to reduce the risk of this happening. So the problem management team here in this case just got triggered to investigate the following major incident. So the incident title they received is Network Wizard application is not working properly. Well, they know now that this statement is not sufficient anymore and learn to be way more specific. So what they are now always doing is they always aim at having a clear object function plus one observed measurable deviation. So thus, this network wizard application is not working properly, turns into network wizard 4.0 has 90% CPU utilization, which without saying is way more specific. So just the key takeaway here. The key takeaway here is not to be vague in your starting position for your investigation. So in our experience, just the mindset of applying this step appraise throughout the entire support chain, so from first to third line, helps on average to reduce the time to resolve an issue by already 17%. All right, so we are going to run a poll now for you. So you will see a question coming up, and we kindly ask you to answer it. Andrew, would you be so kind? All right. So while the poll is on, we will already get on and come back to this in a minute. So what happens is that as soon as someone takes on an issue, the natural first step is to come up with some possible causes. And this is basically where you put possible causes in the ServiceNow app. So here you basically want to make all possible causes visible to everyone. So you have it too often that technical experts kind of imagine a cause and then take actions. But those causes and actions are not visible to the whole team. So what this will result in, so this will basically mean duplicating or repeating work. So once you have them all visible here, you can also assign a status to each. So to state whether a cause is still in analysis, is a likely cause, or is eliminated. The status will mainly be determined in one of the next steps where we look at the likelihood of causes. All right. Maybe let's stop the voting, Andrew, and see the results. All right, so these are the results that you see here. All right, so and let's continue. So before we basically come to looking at the likelihood of the causes, we first want to go on to gather some key facts to increase our understanding of the issue. And there is a certain way of how we are doing this in the app and at KT. All right, so one key challenge in conducting a root cause analysis is to know what data is actually relevant for your issue and to read the data properly so you can derive at the right conclusions from it. So here, we now want to find the most essential relevant data that should then help us to speed up finding root cause. So the key here is that on one hand, we gather data about what the problem actually is. We call it is data. And here we ask, for instance, what application and version is affected. In this particular example, it's Network Wizard version 4. But on the other hand, we also collect data about what is actually still working. So what could have the problem but has not, which is so-called, it's not data. We figured out that Network Wizard version 3 is not affected. But why do we want to know what is not a problem? So it's about the comparison data. So just imagine you sit down, switch on the TV, first channel, image is blurry. Most will intuitively switch to a different channel, just to see if the blurry image is only on the first channel or also on the second one. So you intuitively collected what we call this is not data. So to know what is still working helps to evaluate ideas or possible causes respectively that you have in mind. So let's say we switch to the second channel, we see it is fine, then it is more likely that you have an issue with the channel rather than with the TV. Just think about how often in your work life you have intuitively assessed this type of information without consciously making it visible and putting it in a certain structure. That's what we do here. And experience and data has shown us that effective problem solvers take as much notice of what is not affected as of what is actually affected. So we gather data in this type of table, in this table that you see here. And here we now have all relevant essential data basically on one screen. And this is data that you have here on one screen that you otherwise might have to look up in pages of tickets that you have. Or the data doesn't exist at all, so it's not documented anywhere. So apart from also giving us a good overview, this table kind of also provides us with a common language. So it tells us what data is actually missing, as you can see here circled in red. It also, of course, increases readability and shareability of data with colleagues and other teams. This is kind of a clear, visible, and powerful way of gathering and reading data that has been around for 62 years now and proven to be very effective. So one key reason why we have this data is because within the app and in the KT methodology, we now use this data in order to see how likely the possible causes are that we listed before. So we want to now see which one to consider further and which one to just put aside. So we take the causes and basically screen them against our data to see how likely they are. Let us take an example and choose for this cause number 1, which is here memory board damage during shipping. Now, memory board damage during shipping is the cause for the 90% CPU utilization of Network Wizard. If this is now the cause, if this is a possible cause, it does not only have to explain that Network Wizard version 4 is affected, but also explain why version 3 is still working. So in this particular case, we run them on 2 different servers, so it might make sense, and we can go on to the next data, to the next data pair. So we test the causes against the is and is not data, and when we come to the second row, we would then, of course, also ask the same question again. So if the memory board got damaged during shipping would be now the cause for the high utilization, then why do we see the issue only when we run the trick tips agent in version 4, but not the commander or real session agent in version 4? And here, the damaged memory board doesn't make sense, so it fails against our data as all agents access the same board. So here we now can change the status of our cause to cause eliminated. All right, we have another poll coming up. So, Andrew, if you would be so kind. All right. Again, as the poll is on, we will continue and then come back to it. So with this particular approach, let's say of screening causes against the data that you have before being physically active, what you do is you reduce the chance of jumping to unnecessary actions. And as you avoid jumping to unnecessary actions, thus you don't test all your ideas physically, you also reduce the probability of additional problems. So as, of course, technical experts, then don't play trial and error in running stable systems. With it, you increase transparency. So in regards to the investigation, not only within your team, but also towards customers. And it helps to speed up time to root cause found. So we have clients who basically got 30 to 80% faster in finding root cause with this approach. All right. So, yeah, you see the poll that we have here. Maybe let's stop voting and see the result. All right. So we are almost at the end of the investigation, but only almost. So let's say we determined now which of the causes is the most likely one, then went on to physically verify it and came to root cause. Quite often that's where teams stop, but that's not where to stop. So now we still want to, of course, think about a fix and to extend our thinking a bit beyond the root cause. So, too often, valuable problem tasks are not kept visible, so they are not done, which means we do not prevent repeats in the future. So the last steps are about helping you to find the right fix for your issue by weighing the benefits of the fix against the fix. And then once you have the fix, they are about protecting and securing your fix. So the application, as you see here, kind of guides you to do a small risk assessment, which is based on KT's potential problem analysis. And it should help to reduce the chance of failure while implementation. And then once this is done, it's about improving your system by avoiding future problems. So the app has some embedded guided questions that trigger thinking for looking beyond the immediate horizon. These are the questions that you can see there at Think Beyond the Fix. So once you have finalized this all, your investigation, you get kind of a clear, visible, and structured overview. So let me quickly share my screen and show you how it now looks like inside of the app. Just give me a second. All right. So now you should see my screen. And within the screen, this is now the overview of the case that we just did within ServiceNow. So you can see we first appraised the situation, made sure we understand and have the right starting point. Then it was about brainstorming some of the possible causes, gathering some key facts, relevant facts, not only about what the issue is, but also what is still functioning, which then helped us to determine the likelihood of our causes and to see which one is eliminated and which one not, and to see which one is most likely. By this, we drilled down to the root cause, came to root cause, looked at a fix, weighing benefits and risks, then protected the fix by doing a risk assessment, and then answered some questions that helped us to think beyond the fix so that we can basically improve and make our systems more sustainable and learn from the problem that we had. All right, going back to the screen itself. So basically, the team now, by using the KT Problem Management app and applying KT, was able to address the challenges that you see here, most of them. So they now more often have proven instead of just assumed causes. So they were able to increase verification. They were also able to increase the shareability and transparency, and they improve the quality of data they need for the investigation. And of course, coming with it, the quality of information that they have in their tickets. Well, one thing is still missing here, and this is that they would like to be often more proactive and to already get critical data captured earlier in the resolution process. So to go about this now, they are now going to unlock the KT Incident Management app in ServiceNow, which aims at fast, focused restoring of service while capturing critical problem management data at the same time. All right, a little bit about the app itself. So one thing is the app can be kind of supported by KT's coaching methodology and ServiceNow coaching loops. So this means if you want to drive continuous improvement in applying KT process, you can develop some KT expert coaches who then use ServiceNow coaching plugin to coach the team in the application of KT. So we are going to send a follow-up mail in which we add more information about this. The app itself can be simply downloaded from the ServiceNow App Store. It's free of charge, but you need to do some skill development. So without a thorough understanding of the KT methodology, I mean, the usage of the app is unlikely to be successful. And as stated before, the app can be linked to the KT Major Incident app, so you can already establish a common language and format earlier in the resolution process. And just a few days back, we also launched a customer service app for ServiceNow. So now you can push the capturing of relevant data even more to the front. We have already quite a lot of clients, customers who use this. One is the Global Problem Management team at Deutsche Bank. And these are some of the results that they achieved. So they achieved a 40% reduction in the average time it takes to complete problems, made up a 55% reduction in record length, and while increasing quality at the same time. That's important to mention here, to add here. And we're able to achieve a 59% reduction in the total backlog of past due tasks. All right, so I'm already coming to an end here. So as mentioned, we will send you all a follow-up mail with more info in regards to the app, how to unlock it, and KT skill development. One thing I want to mention here is for everyone interested in a demo for the team, we offer free remote demo sessions. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sascha, thank you. We have some questions, and it would help during those questions if we went back to screen share so that we looked at the instance of ServiceNow.
Okay, brilliant.
So please do throw in more questions, everybody. So the first one, thank you very much for this. A proper timeline is crucial to identify contributing factors and being able to tell a story about why something has happened. Where can I properly take over the incident management timeline and make a root cause timeline out of it? So when we look into the ServiceNow app, you will see that there is an is and is not table, and Sascha will hopefully make that zoom in a little bit so you can see it more clearly. One of the crucial questions, of course, is always about timing. And so built into the app are three crucial questions about timing. When first? When did it happen again? Is this continuously or erratically? And what exactly were those time points? And then the third question is, in what circumstances did that occur? So what were you doing when it occurs, and what were you doing immediately before and after it occurs? So those pieces of data are built in to the app, but they do require that you enter them separately. You cannot simply grab an incident timeline straight out of the incident ticket and dump it in here. It doesn't move automatically, so I'm afraid there's some retyping. So second question here, is the problem management application in ServiceNow a separate product? Yes, it is. It's an app in the App Store, but it is a free-to-use app for however many seats you want to use it for. But you should be aware that it's either on or off. So it will appear as a separate button around the side. So Kepner-Tregoe problem management. If we zoom in a little bit, we'd be able to see the screen share there on the left-hand side. That will appear on your menu, and your people will have access to it if you choose to ask them to use it. So those two questions, and I'm very happy to answer more questions as we go through this session.
All right, so just to add, we uploaded some things as attachments. So to get to know a little bit more, feel free to have a look at it. So there you find the slide deck. You will also find a link to our problem management workshop. And you find an extract from a book called The Rational Manager, which is basically the Bible of the KT process. So the founder themselves, they wrote it and explained the methodology in it.
So if there are no more questions, we'll wait a couple of moments to see if there are more questions, but otherwise we will invite you to enjoy your afternoon and hope it's very problem-free. And if it isn't problem-free, that will be an opportunity for some continuous improvement.
Yeah, so enjoy your afternoon, everyone.
Oh, here's another one. Is there a specific release of ServiceNow for this to add on to work? Yeah, from Madrid onwards, you'll be okay. So Madrid onwards, let's wait to see if there's some more questions here for a moment. Yeah, so does this mean it's too much of a task for technical teams to do a problem management? So one of the things that our clients do is ask their resolving teams, but also other people interested, to go directly to the Kepner-Tregoe app. So as soon as they open a problem ticket, they go into the Kepner-Tregoe app directly, and all of the relevant investigation information is parked there. Then anybody who is concerned with that ticket can see it immediately, rather than making lots of history updates, which you then have to search later. Is the problem management best practice Madrid plugin also free? Yes, it is. Yeah. Is the PM app different from the KT plugin? There are, in fact, two KT plugins that you can see. There is an incident management plugin which has condensed data in one page, So it's very easy for the incident managers or the service desk just to park what they see immediately, and then that will then be accessible to the problem managers later. So 2 KT plugins, both of which are free. How is the KT problem module linked to the existing problem incident module in Snow? These are flat screens which are attached to the relevant incident and problem ticket. So when you open a new ticket and you've put in the basic details and the entitlement and you've checked who is calling and you've done your classification, then if you do not have an immediate answer to give and you need to do investigation, you would click a separate button to open a KT problem analysis. And that problem analysis would always be attached to the parent problem and to the parent incident. Can this produce stats and graphs to show specific service being impacted and specific scenarios? At this moment, no, it cannot. That would be a customization that ServiceNow would probably charge you for. But then having said that, your stats and graphs are already dependent on your classification of the originating incident and what drop-down boxes you have chosen to put in there. So that's very much a choice that you have to make as a sysadmin for ServiceNow. Oh, right. Can KT be integrated with other tools other than ServiceNow? Yes, we have done that with other tools in the past. Depending on your provider, they may well charge you a small or large amount for doing that. We will certainly supply your provider with the wireframes they need to do it quickly and efficiently and cheaply. How is the license managed, and can we do KT analysis without integrating with Snow? Yes, of course you can. We will help you to use KT analysis in whatever form you like with. In the old days, people always did this on a separate Excel sheet, which they attached to the ticket, which is a little bit clunky, but you could still do that. And there are other things you can do to customize your existing tool cheaply, which we're happy to talk to you about offline. So that's a really rich set of questions, and I thank you very much for those. Keep them coming, even after this session is over. Ping us either directly on the email or please do get hold of us on LinkedIn, Sascha Laufenberg or Andrew Van Mesh, and we will answer your questions happily about how you can make this work in other tools than ServiceNow, if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah, and we will also send you this week a follow-up mail, and you can find some contact information there that you can also use to get in touch.
And is there any more? No. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. Oh, there is another one. Is this available in Remedy? Not currently. You would have to go to Remedy. Well, I've had negotiations with Remedy in the past. Lots of you have to ask Remedy to include Kepner-Tregoe, and then they will include it. Lots of you asked to include Kepner-Tregoe in ServiceNow. They included it. Remedy, clearly you haven't put enough pressure on yet. So if you do, then we'll be ready to help them do the customization very quickly.
Yeah. But there are also clients who kind of customize and make themselves something. So I have one client who created basically a KT website and then linked it manually always to the ticket itself. So it's a little bit clunky, but it's still possible.
Okay. So this is very much about ServiceNow. We also have a cloud-based tool that we can use as a front end to Remedy or something else. The video is available later. As soon as this call closes, we will, BrightTalk processes the video, and in a few minutes, about 10 minutes later, you'll be able to access it. And we seem to have run out of questions, so Sascha, thanks very much for doing it.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thanks all. Thank you very much for your attention and all the questions that you had, and for you, Andrew, in supporting on it. And we wish you all a nice evening and afternoon. And get in touch. And as already stated, we will send you also some follow-up information. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Cheerio. Bye.